I know that creation takes time and effort, but sometimes you can recognize that exact moment when inspiration strikes. You're suddenly stricken with the realization that you must do something. At least, that's how it happened to me. On an early December night in 2014, I was watching the local news in Puerto Rico, and I found myself criticizing my island's decision makers. I thought, shouting to the TV is useless. Why don't I become one of those decision makers? For decades, most people in many countries have come to think of democracy being dependent on political parties, born to mobilize citizens behind a particular vision of society, to offer meaningful choices in governance, and provide avenues for decision-making participation. Political parties' existence and purpose, as that of many other great institutions, has become distorted, has become corrupted. In many countries, political parties perpetuate establishment to retain their power. They have dedicated to destruct and obstruct their adversary instead of complementing it, annihilating previous party projects, firing their human resources to replace them with their own. Political parties have become enemies of progress, impeding continuity in some of the nation's most important areas. Dominated and controlled by high interests who finance their campaigns, they now pre-select the candidates from which we'll choose from. Those same candidates that once in power will serve those same interests and not the people. They have failed to respond to citizens' concerns, becoming wildly distrusted and distrusted. They've hijacked democracy. That's precisely why, without ever having worked in politics, I decided to run for governor of Puerto Rico. I wanted to become the leader I always looked for and never found. A leader that wouldn't talk to me with a fabricated or poetic speech, that wouldn't say to me, "People of Puerto Rico, with blood and sacrifice, we will prevail." No, I wanted to talk to people like I'm talking to you. I wanted to be able to be transparent, to be able to promote what was fair and right for my country without thinking of how many votes I will win or how many votes I will lose. I wanted to show the system that it was absurd that we kept putting millions of dollars of public funding into political campaigns when austerity measures were being imposed on the people. I wanted to show the people that we could do more with less. To show them that a picture of a candidate in a lighting pole didn't communicate a platform, a strategy, an idea. I wanted to contribute with my knowledge and experience in education, in laws, finance, economics, strategic management, to improve my country. But I didn't want to become part of the highly narrow-minded and corrupt political parties that brought us to our worst fiscal and social crisis. A crisis that has us each week deciding if we pay bondholders or if we provide therapy to special ed children. A crisis that has us each week deciding if we buy gasoline for police cars, for fire trucks, for ambulances, or we pay public debt. The same crisis that has led 76,846 young people to leave our country last year alone. That's why on March 17, 2015, I was the first person in Puerto Rico to launch a candidacy for the governorship as an independent candidate. I rejected matching public funds. I went to speak to universities, to festivals, public squares, parks, under the trees. Any place was good to inform, to educate, to propose. Not in the typical political promising way. I didn't want to sell a dream to our people. I wanted to tell them what we could do with the resources we had. I eliminated media as an intermediary. That same media that would obstruct and distort my message because they were perpetuating the establishment that sustain their industry. I talk to the people directly through social media. That way, I gathered more followers than any other candidate in Puerto Rico's political history. And I found the answer in part to that old question of how you transform follows or likes into action. With that small army, I edified a team of over 1,000 volunteers that helped me gather the endorsements for the officialization of my candidacy, 26,882 signatures in Puerto Rico. We kept working. Now that team keeps growing every day. A team composed of people from all ideologies, from all sectors, decided to contribute to their country, not expecting a favor, a contract, not expecting money. They want to change things in our island. From there, we decided to keep on moving. So we made a call to action for other leaders to stand up and become independent candidates. Today, Puerto Rico has 9 official independent candidates for next general election. Independent candidacies are not what is cool, are not what is in right now. They're actually a global trend. We're seeing them rise and win in countries all over the world. Greece, Egypt, Spain, Mexico, Pakistan, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, Italy, in states like Maine, Rhode Island, Texas, Illinois, Alaska. We are seeing professionals, experts, community leaders become part of their systems of governance, contributing to their improvement through their knowledge, making them work for the people. Imagine how much better managed, how less corrupt, how better ran would countries be if there were qualified individuals making their decisions instead of the entertainers, instead of those people that owe themselves to the interests that finance their campaigns. Life is only one. We live in our own individualistic approach. We criticize our government decisions on TV, mainly because most of them are plainly wrong. But we ever hardly take a stand. We hardly ever think about the collective and decide to become part of the solution. I invite you all, professionals, experts, leaders, passionate people, to contribute with your knowledge and experience to your countries, to the planet. You don't have to be a politician. I think it's time for all of us to stop shouting at the TV like I did. Set aside the remote and decide to become part of the solution. At the end of the day, democracy, it's in all our hands. Thank you.